Well, good afternoon, everybody. What a glorious day. I want to thank General Conville, Sergeant Major Griston, Sergeant Major Daly, General Eifler, so many other leaders in the U.S. Army, so many leaders in Alaska, and most of all, I want to thank the incredible new 11th Airborne Division that we have right here. How about a round of applause for them? Welcome home to Alaska. The transformation of this unit to the 11th Airborne Division, now one of only 2 airborne divisions in the entire U.S. military, represents a transformation, really a sea change in the Pentagon's strategic thinking about the Arctic. It wasn't too long ago that the Department of Defense saw the Arctic as a backwater in terms of strategic relevance. No real strategy, and a focus on shutting down bases and units in Alaska. Nowhere was that more apparent than with this actual unit. Some of you might remember in 2015 it was announced the Army was going to get rid of 40,000 active duty troops, including the 425. Now I think some of you know I'm a U.S. Marine, but outside of the Marine Corps there is no unit in the United States military I have a deeper bond or connection with than this unit right before all of us, the former 425, now the 2nd Brigade of the 11th Airborne Division. Many of us, when that was announced, said there's no way in hell we're getting rid of the only airborne brigade combat team in the entire Arctic and Asia Pacific. And this unit, and I saw it at JROTC with General Milley, Airborne Operations, I saw it in Afghanistan, visiting you over the holidays there. This unit proved its worth, and the Army said, no, we're not going to cut the 425. All of that has changed now in terms of the Arctic. The standing up of the 11th Airborne Division here in Alaska represents a critical pillar in the transformation of America's Arctic strategy. I like to say that our great state in Alaska constitutes 3 pillars of America's military might. With the 11th Airborne Division, we are a strategically located platform that can deploy thousands of tough airborne troops anywhere in the world within hours. We are the hub of air combat power for the entire Arctic and Indo-Pacific theaters. The Air Force just finished its bed down of 2 squadrons of F-35s, giving Alaska, with the F-22 here over 100 5th-generation fighters in our state. No place in the world has that kind of 5th-gen combat power. And we're the cornerstone of missile defense for our nation. All the radar, all the ground-based missile interceptors are here. In addition to this, we're building Coast Guard icebreakers to protect our seaborne interests here in the Arctic. We're building a strategic Arctic port in Nome from which to base these ships and large Navy vessels, and we've just stood up the Department of Defense Ted Stevens Center for Arctic Security Studies, which will be the premier place in the world to convene our best minds on Arctic strategy. So this is an incredible transformation on the Arctic, an exciting transformation, and the 11th Airborne, all of you, are at the tip of the spear on this strategic transformation. Now, of course, not everybody is pleased by this. Just think about the military firepower I just described and the strategic location of where we are. The brutal dictators in China, North Korea, and Russia are soon going to realize that the U.S. just put 100 5th-generation fighters and a tough new airborne division in their rear and on their flanks. These dictators cannot, these dictators cannot be happy about that, but in my view, that's a good thing. Let me conclude with this. In the Marines and the Navy, we have a term for those fortunate enough to be part of a new unit, like all of you are today. We call them plank holders. The term comes from the days of wooden ships in the Navy, where the original crew members had the ownership rights of planks on the main deck of the ship once it was decommissioned. It is a great honor to be a plank holder, and it is also a great honor to be part of a unit that all of you are part of with such a storied history as the 11th Airborne Division. And what a history it is. We've heard about some of it: amphibious invasions, synchronized with airborne assaults, and famous battles during World War II, daring behind enemy line raids to rescue thousands of POWs. 2 years fighting wars in the Korean War, including airborne ops. It's an incredible legacy that continues with all of you. It is now your airborne division. The best thing about being a plank holder is that you get an opportunity that is very rare in the military. You get to set the culture, toughness, standards, and reputation for your new unit. It is a huge responsibility, and it begins now with all of you. And 40 years from now, when you're having a beer and you're retired, and your grandson or granddaughter comes to you and says, "Grandpa, guess what? I just got orders to the 11th Airborne Division in Alaska. It is considered the toughest Arctic trained unit in the U.S. Army. It is considered the best airborne unit in the U.S. Army, way better than the 82nd Airborne." You are all going to be able to sit back and look at your granddaughter or grandson and smile confidently and say, "Yes, I know this, son, because I made it that way." Congrats again to all of you. Down from heaven comes 11. Welcome home to Alaska.